Well, what percentage of people do you think grow intellectually as much as they should?
When I give speeches, I always ask that question. Not long ago, I gave a speech to a group of 100 CFOs and entrepreneurs. When I ask how many people grow intellectually on a weekly basis, as much as they should, literally only one person raised their hand. One person. Well, that's a problem. As an entrepreneur, you have to continually increase your competencies. You do that from learning from others who are true experts. In the Think It Be It program, we put your personal growth on autopilot so that you grow each and every week automatically. We show you a way to do it where it doesn't take any additional time. Maybe best part of it is we give you every week exactly what to listen to, which will enhance your abilities in marketing, sales, leadership, and organization and efficiency. It's really the best of the best coming from podcasts, books, and a variety of sources. It's a huge competitive advantage for you.
And you provide the content every week to your customers? That's what they're going to listen to?
Yes, and that may be one of the best parts of the program. I discovered that even with my favorite podcasts, only about 1 in 4 episodes are really worth listening to. Because I'm fanatical about constantly growing, I curate the best of the best and supply it to you every week. It's usually about an hour and a half of content every week. I do this because I find that even with really sharp people who buy into the concept of growing, if somebody else doesn't supply the content, they simply won't grow as much as they should if they have to go out and find the content themselves. I absolutely know this is true because in my 30s, a very smart man told me I needed to turn my car into a mobile university. In retrospect, I see I didn't do that because I didn't know exactly what to listen to. That's why I make growing as easy as possible for you, so there's no responsibility on your shoulders to find the best stuff. I'm doing that for you and providing it to you every week on Monday morning.
Oh, I love it. Share with us more. Share with us your discovery of the success and human achievement field and how it impacted you.
In my 30s and 40s, as a hard-working entrepreneur, I didn't even know the success and human achievement field even existed. I had heard of the self-help industry, but this was something way different. In my 50s, I discovered there actually was an industry built around helping people succeed in business from a psychological and habit standpoint. Who knew? When I discovered it, I was fascinated by what I was learning. And for me, it was even more powerful because I had a way to double my control over myself using my daily visualization. I'll give you an example of the type of thing I learned. What do you think Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, and Elon Musk all have in common? They attribute their success to one thing, the ability to say no. Specifically, they learned to only focus on the 2 or 3 things that really move the needle and to say no to time demands for everything else. They all realized that their time was their most valuable commodity. It's easy to say yes, always hard to say no, but they developed that ability to an exceptional level. Each one of them said that figuring out the 2 or 3 things that ultimately determined their success and then focusing exclusively on those things was the number one thing that made them successful.
Share the example you told me regarding Darren Hardy. That really drives this point home.
Darren is a former publisher of Success Magazine, and he's hugely successful. When he was 20 years old, he became a realtor and worked in an office with 10 other realtors. He observed something really interesting. There were only 4 or 5 key functions that a realtor does that really impacts their success. But he saw that all the other realtors spent most of their time doing things that didn't directly impact their success. They were focused on minor things rather than major things. So Darren had the bright idea to focus his time exclusively on the three things that ultimately determined a realtor's success. Everything else he farmed out. And he would track how much time he was spending on those key things. Guess what happened? Not only did he quickly become the top agent in the office, he was doing more business than all the other agents combined. At 20 years old, you see the power of defining what moves the needle and only focusing on that?
Wow. He employed the same approach that Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson all applied. They each had the presence of mind to step back and first define the few things that made a difference, then focus time and energy only on those things. Is that right?
Exactly. And we see it all the time in American society today. People working 60, 70 hours a week. They're frazzled and stressed. They're also the people that are not the most successful. The most successful people only work on the 2 or 3 things that move the needle and become obsessed with only those things. Once I learned this master skill set, it was life-altering to me. So today I help you figure out how to apply this concept to your business. Then we incorporate it into your daily visualization.
John, did you learn anything else from the success in human achievement industry?
I also learned that one's success comes down to the simple habits and routines you create in your life. Way more important than intelligence. And you only need to have maybe 3 or 4 key routines in your life to create an amazing life. I could go on and on about the lessons I've learned from the success in human achievement industry. But the bottom line is it's amazing stuff, and I incorporate these things into your visualization.
Learning from experts on a weekly basis. Tell me why the story about this, why it's so impactful.
A couple of years ago, after I started my daily visualization, I was given a copy of Success Magazine. In every issue, there's a 1-hour audio CD. Today, it's an audio download. Anyway, the publisher typically interviews 4 different experts in a variety of fields. One may talk on marketing, another on sales, always somebody talking about leadership. They consistently had world-class people being interviewed. People like Jack Welch, the legendary CEO of General Electric, to the futurist for Google. So every month I would listen to the audio CD. I came to appreciate something amazing. In each 15-minute interview, I would get 3 or 4 great ideas for my business. I was fascinated by the fact that listening for 15 minutes to an audio interview was way more effective than spending 5 or 6 hours reading a book, especially for a slow reader like myself. Upon discovering this, I went to Success Magazine and ordered 36 back issues. Once they all came, I pulled the CDs out of the magazine and threw them all in a drawer. Then first thing every Monday morning, I would close my eyes and reach into that drawer and randomly pick out 2 CDs. I let the universe tell me what 2 I needed that week. Then I would march into my garage and put them in my CD player. My commitment to myself was to listen to both by the end of the week.
Well, so what was the effect on you of doing that every week?
The impact was amazing. It really was. I was constantly being stimulated with great ideas to apply to my business. I discovered I didn't need consultants anymore. And this was interesting, and I know you've experienced this as well as an entrepreneur. When you bring in consultants, the biggest challenge is always getting them up to speed to understand the nuances of your business. But that whole problem went away when I started learning from experts on a week-in and week-out basis. Upon just hearing the great idea, I would immediately know exactly how to apply it to my business. And that's the reason it eliminated the need for consultants and, in fact, was way more effective than consultants. That's the power of growing each and every week.
That makes so much sense.
Once I stepped back and really thought about what was going on, I discovered that by doing this 52 weeks a year, I was getting like 1,800 great ideas on an annual basis. You can just imagine the impact it had on my business. I didn't have to be the smartest guy in the world. I just had to listen to smart people on a weekly basis. You talk about something that ups your game. Boy, this does it. I think today so often you're inundated with people's opinions. The problem is that most of the time the people giving you their opinions are not experts on the subject. So it ends up being just clutter and confusion. That's the significance to you of listening to true experts on a regular basis.